Well, students, today we would be talking about how to examine and present a case of peripheral nerve injuries when you are in the examination. Well, as you are all aware, peripheral nerve injury cases are usually kept as short cases in the examination, and as recommended in short cases, the history is to be very short and you need not write the history on any sheet of paper. Well, there are only three issues which need to be talked about as far as the history is concerned in a given case of peripheral nerve injury. These three issues are: number one, when did the injury occur? That means, what is the time elapsed since the injury? How did it occur? That means that we need to know what was the mechanism of this injury which created the nerve injury. And last but not the least, if any treatment has been provided to this patient, especially in those cases which are presenting late, sometimes months later. And here we need to know whether any surgery was performed, whether any splintage has been prescribed, and whether this patient has undergone any type of physiotherapy or occupational therapy. Once these points have been noted as far as the history is concerned, it is time to embark upon the examination. And remember, in the exam, you are given about 10 minutes time to complete the short case examination. So my advice is that you should elicit the signs quickly relevant to the nerve which has been injured in your given case. As far as the examination is concerned, we follow the same dictum which is recommended for other short cases, namely inspection, palpation, and movements, which we in orthopedics term as look, feel, and move. And at the end of the examination, what a candidate should be able to do is he should be able to decide which nerve is involved, whether it is a high or a low nerve injury, whether it is a complete or an incomplete lesion, is it a recovering lesion or a non-recovering lesion? Under the Seddon's classification, where does this lesion fit in? Is it a neuroparaxia, axonotmesis, or neurotomesis? And lastly, he should be able to tell us what is the management in this particular patient. Thereby, he should be able to advise relevant investigations and chalk out a treatment protocol, whether conservative or surgical. Well, as far as the recovery time calculation is concerned, Seddon in 1973 recommended that we should be able to calculate the distance from the probable site of injury to the proximal most muscle involved in this particular nerve. He discussed the case of a high radial nerve paralysis occurring as a result of a shaft humerus fracture. So in this particular patient, if the site of fracture happens to be in the mid shaft and you need to calculate the distance from this site of injury to about 2 centimeters proximal to the lateral epicondyle, which happens to be the site of innervation of the brachioradialis, which is the proximal most muscle supplied by the radial nerve. So in this particular patient, if it was about 16 centimeters, then the time calculation depends on the recovery which occurs at the rate of 1 millimeter per day. So in this particular patient, it is likely to take about 140 to 160 days. But you must remember that in the initial 3 to 4 weeks time, there is no recovery because the distal tubules, they undergo a process of Wallerian degeneration. So to this 140 to 160 days calculation, one must add another 30 days to be able to predict the probable time of recovery.